So, welcome back to the ESL ESEA Pro League. It wasn't a very long break. We're trying to keep things on time for you. All players are in the server getting themselves ready. And in case you just joined us, it's going to be a big game to begin with, isn't it? NiP up against TSM. It's going to be incredible. What are your thoughts on this?
I am excited. I mean, I said it before.
Generically excited.
Yeah, like straight up, you see these names on paper. You also see Overpass, which is a map I love to see play out because it can play out in so many different ways depending on the teams and depending on how they choose to structure their attack especially. So, yeah, I'm really intrigued to see both the NiP front to see who's even starting on the T side and also interested to see how things are going to go down in terms of fragging with Exist dropping that in-game leader title.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? I think T-side's going to be more indicative to me of how he's taking
100%.
over the role and, well, sorry, excuse me, how GetRight's taking over the role. And it's quite interesting to put a player who generally lurks into that sort of spot. I hate saying it as a sweeping statement, but it's the term that got coined off the back of his playstyle almost in a way. And, well, he's got such great in-game knowledge and the understanding of the opposition. Artu was saying it's a clear fit for him. He only ever plays his position well when he has that full understanding of the opposition. Yeah,
and thinking about the kind of in-game leader lurks, the only other name that pops to mind is Happy. I mean, that's the only other kind of person I could put into that role, I think. So, yeah, GetRight, we've only seen him twice already up against Penta and Mousesports. This is going to be him going up against a team of, like, I don't want to say much higher caliber, especially considering how Mousesports are performing at the moment, but of higher caliber. So it's going to be really good to see how the new NiP side, I say new, we've got Natu, we've got GetRight, lots of things have changed for these boys. We're interested to see how things happen.
It's quite funny. There was this big discussion recently, I'm sure people at home have seen it on Reddit or HLTV, and it's in regards of how involved are the coaches towards these teams? How much input do they have? Because you had Pitta before, who was quite removed, slightly further back.
Stood on stage behind them with a headset on.
Correct. But, you know, they switch something up, and actually Natu takes a lot of time with them. Any changes, he's always present. He's there when they do the reviews. He's actually very involved. So his presence will start playing a bit of a position, I feel, in this almost sometime down the line. It's still a recent addition, though, and it's quite funny. A lot of people were also pointing out that some of the NiP players were going through a little bit of a slump at the moment. So I can imagine once they start feeling confident and comfortable, we're going to be seeing some very big results from these boys.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, I was watching GetRight stream the other day, and he was just talking about Alu as an individual. And
oh, he's finding his feet.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things he said, actually, that kind of stood out to me was Chris said, yeah, we think Alu's at about 80% right now. And he said we, as in like a team of NiP, they think he's about 80% right now. And he also indicated that that next 20% will happen as soon as they start communicating in Swedish.
And it's a big step, isn't it? It's a massive step. I think it was Lurpis, actually, on Twitter, who was pointing out how hard it is for teams to communicate regardless if they're, you know, even if they're of the same language. And he was pointing out the Team Kingwin, who actually, you know, this big kind of melting pot of languages coming together, which is a very hard thing to overcome. But then you even add in one new voice, one new language, it can be quite difficult, even though I believe Alu can, to a degree, understand some Swedish. He can speak very good English, and so can the rest of NiP. They speak great English, every single one of them. So it's quite an interesting balance, and if he gets that comfort zone going in the end, that's a wonderful addition overall. And looking at his form, he is on the increase. But the one player I wanted to point out that was actually not necessarily picked on, but certainly picked up upon, was Freiburg. He's been having a very quiet time recently. I'm quite hoping we see a little more of him.
You know, actually, I tend to agree with you. I think we haven't seen enough from Freiburg. And in direct contrast with that, the other F, Forest, has been kind of making up for that slack. So, yeah, they are. The NiP side are in flux at this point. And I think that's a fair kind of summation of where they are. Some individuals who were looking a little flimsy, now looking a lot stronger. And we are going to be, of course, talking about that NiP round now, primarily because I really want to see either side on that T side. Because things have changed in Overpass in regards to, we've seen a lot more preference of teams going for these very kind of violent and successful kind of force buys. I'll be intrigued to see how these play out.
Well, we are live into the NiP, and as much as I do love casting games, I think the NiP is a bit of a stretch.
It is a stretch, it is.
Personally, for me, I'd just like to see NiP on the T side, because I want to see how they're going to play as, you know, this team having to take the initiative. And I thought it was one of the new knives then, but it's just a very bland butterfly knife. Yeah,
we were saying that it's like a chunky flip knife, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not so sure Bazipnik's putting the old flip to good use, and they'll be getting to pick sides. So we might actually get to see NiP on that T side. Let's see what TSM go for in the end. I can imagine they'll go CT, but there we go. We'll be seeing the switch around. So TSM will be on the CT side, NiP onto the T side, and I just really want to see how much freedom maybe we get to with Exist, especially what Get Right Now can bring to the table, and who else can find form. Alu could be a big factor here. Orpas seem to have very big games on this. I throw my mind back to Hellraisers with their newer edition coming up big with the AWP, up against Smiths, who then was his hard counter. So these AWP battles go on, and this is going to be a great display, but I believe we are live into this one. So TSM up against NiP, TSM on the CT side, NiP on the T side. Take us away.
So jumping into our first round then, the pistol is about to begin. No blood drawn just yet though, and you can see the buy-up from the CTs. They are stacking up a fair few nades. Just one frag, make it two smokes, and the flash in the hands of Cajun-B. So slow and steady seems to be the plan for this one. As you can see, the CTs have spread themselves up quite nicely. NiP, however, quite the opposite. Get Right and Alu on either side, and this three-man presence is about to make its way known through Connector.
Yeah, I want to see where they go towards. It looks like it's going to be, well, with Get Right there, you'd say it'd be a B, but then again, he could be faking this out almost. Him trying to make a presence here. And, well, Alu now joining him, going to make up for his deficit. Alu's going to kick this one on for NiP, and they will be making their play towards B. Xyp9x is going to be the man waiting to receive. Exist is already coming and gets pinned to the wall by dupreeh, and it looks like TSM should have this round, but the bomb is going down. Yeah,
so time is going to be of the essence now for those CTs to try and make something happen. Carrigan, no armor, does have the 5-7, not having any of that monkey business. Freiburg picks it up, and now 3v3. dupreeh load, does have his armor though. NiP looking a little better off in terms of health as the exchange continues. Finally, blood is drawn. It's Xyp9x now down as they continue to pick up frags. TSM put Forest now in the driving seat of the round as they are so low on health.
Forest on a pistol, you know this man can go big. Let's see what he's got here. 1v2, the bomb's being held. Big shot coming out there. Takes down dupreeh, and now it's just him against Device. He knows it's a fake. Forest playing it to perfection. This man is who you'd want left alive, and you just saw why.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It came right down to the wire, right down to those scraps of health TSM were left on. A true team effort, but we do see Ninjas in Pajamas prevail in round one. Big buy coming up from TSM, though. We're going to be seeing those scouts make an appearance. No surprises there as we're going to go into the second round, and we'll see if NiP can fend off this pretty much half bought up TSM.
I'm not sure if I like the new sound of the knife just yet.
I'm getting used to it.
It's a little different, isn't it? It takes a little while. But NiP doing kind of what we saw last round. You can see them waiting in towards that kind of lower connector tunnel that can split you towards B, or that long toilet push towards A. And then we've got Get Right lurking over towards the B side, Alu over towards A, and it looks like they're just waiting for picks, seeing if TSM push up, and then slowly working off the back. Exist and Forest starting to head around towards that B side, but this is a little bit of different of approach. We haven't seen NiP being this, patient, waiting for these picks. They were a lot more active previously. Get Right lining up that same smoke, and Cajun-B taking matters into his own hands, finding Forest very early on, and giving away a little bit of what NiP were up to.
Yeah, and giving away an AK as well. That AK is going to, I assume, be scooped up by one of his teammates when they get there. They did opt for the two AKs. Exist as the one to pick that one up, to try and pick up where his teammate left off. Already, though, TSM have rotated nicely. There's 4 CTs lying in wait for this push from NiP, and they're starting to crumble. 2 NiP members remain. Exist and Alu trying to scrape it back, and they do, as it's going to be now a 2v2. Device has finally got himself over there to try and back up Cajun-B as he's been pressured, and they do manage to thrive in the turmoil of that round. We are going to see just 2 NiP members remain, though, as they do retain those AKs. So it was by no means easy, but NiP do manage to fend off the bought-up TSM.
That's quite impressive, considering TSM had so many players on towards that B side by the time the play came through. NiP just kind of pulled it back, depending on the likes of Alu and Exist. Maybe a very good indication of what's to come, but still. Looking at the CT side now, not a great deal to work with. TSM going to try and pressure the issue. Alu has been looking for this so far, but it looks like NiP going to start out slightly different here. Maybe expecting a little bit of a different play from TSM.
Oh, it's a good start, though, from dupreeh. P250 is all he needs as he takes down Get Right. Of course, that does give the in-game leader even more knowledge for him to try and manipulate his team. Just the pistols and a MAC-10 for TSM, as I think he got a great deal of intel. Carrigan's confirmed it. There is going to be a T presence down long, and they are ready for it.
Yeah, but the CTs have a lot of players here. NiP just needs to bully their way in, and they do. Great kills back-to-back coming in for NiP. And the last man alive will be dupreeh, getting a bit of cash then. 2 kills now with that MAC-10. It's going to do wonders for his bankroll. Even getting a molly out of the T side as well. dupreeh here just taking his time. Why not? 1 kill can make a huge difference. But here comes the push, and there's a kill. Freiburg cleans it up, and NiP pick up 3 rounds back-to-back, which is Something actually, funny enough, we don't see that often anymore. The turns are coming in so thick and fast
It feels
now.
weird when your eyebrows are raised when you see 3-0. Yeah. It does feel odd, but it is exactly the kind of case for these games. And now,
the one thing I want to point out is something that we probably wouldn't have seen back in, maybe a couple of weeks ago. Garay not even making an impact yet into those first 3 rounds. So I want to see how that translates now to a gun round. Look at TSM. They are pushing up heavily to gain control over by long A, and then kind of splitting themselves, diverging down towards those large tunnels where 2 players are actually waiting. They're just down the back. This is a lot of control for TSM. They want to really push this issue.
Yeah, quite reminiscent of Fnatic on their CT side. Look at Get Right, though. Opens up, this is his first kill of the game. Let's see if he can find a second, as there is going to be 1 round toilets. Karrigan says no, as now we are once again going to hit a bit of a standstill. The T side kind of a little intimidated by the early presence from TSM, and Forest, Alu, and Exist just making their way down long. The man to receive them will be Device, as he what lurks around in Bank. Freiburg hungering for this one, as it does seem that Karrigan has pushed forward towards the toilets area. 54 seconds. I wouldn't be surprised if NiP starts trying to... Yeah, Freiburg is going to go hunting for something on B.
Can't blame him either. You want to be able to at least try out and see if you can find a pick in. NiP seem completely fine with trying to switch these things up. Exist to do a little pop flash through the smoke, and he will take down Karrigan. Great understanding of where Karrigan wanted to play then. And now Device and Xyp9x on towards this A side. NiP are moving in. The wall of smoke comes out. They can still plant that close toilet hold. And look at Forest just trying to hold them back. cajunb is there, finding Exist. And 1 by 1, NiP are being found. Alu on towards Device. Forest pushing in. Xyp9x kicks into gear, and the bomb is down a ticket, but Xyp9x says no! Where did he just get that kill on towards Alu? Unbelievable. And he'll get the defuse. That was perfect from Xyp9x, picking up 3 then individually. He just went above and beyond. I didn't even see Alu.
I wrote that round off. I was writing like 4-0 on my piece of paper. He just turns up. Wow, 3 frags for Xyp9x, and the first round for TSM on the board. NiP are going to be a little upset with that one. And that's going to put him in good standings in terms of money. You can see that already. Just the second US peak. What is that? He must have just kind of heard Alu and hoped for the best, crossed his fingers, and it paid off still.
One of those rounds, you can't depend on winning. As you said, we already thought that one was done and dusted, but I guess if you can land a 1 USP little left click through the smoke, anything can change. But now what does that mean for NiP? They've still got enough bank winning those first 3 rounds. They can buy into this. A little bit weaker than wanted. Obviously, Freiburg there with just the Galil. But TSM are so good at adding this pressure towards A, not allowing much room for NiP here.
Freiburg does draw blood with that Galil. It's going to be good. Put an AK in his hands. As now, going to be seeing dupreeh fight back. FAMAS from him. As it is once again, it's just brawl in the toilet area that we're going to be seeing more and more of. Forest does take dupreeh down, but dupreeh took a whole lot of health with him. As Karrigan's going aggressive, just walks through the smoke, balls to the wall, and now Xyp9x elsewhere has leveled the playing field, but this could get very nasty. Karrigan does get spotted out, and just 6 points of health. He realizes that's not a trade he can fight. He's going to get away from that one. On the other hand, for NiP though, Forest and Exist are slowly but surely creeping their way up long, but they know that their call has been made.
But there's still a great deal of utility towards NiP. They have 3 smokes, a molly in there, and a couple of flashes.
Yeah.
That's enough to work with, but there's this man waiting for them. Xyp9x, perfect flash, just toying with him. He's got Exist just pinned to that wall. He knows he's got that, and that's going to give away the rest of the game. Karrigan can just sit by B and wait it out. He's got cajunb to still back him up, and cajunb's going to do just that. Watching the push across, Freiburg needlessly getting caught out, but Forest connects the shot. Now 2v1, Forest has to find his form here as well.
He goes for the fake. He's convinced of a presence in toilets, and that's actually going to be kind of counterintuitive considering the time. Bomb goes in. And now, time is on. Time is of the essence for TSM, I was going to say.
Did he shoot him from underneath then?
It was a headshot. I'm going to say no.
Jesus, that was really weird. Looking at where cajunb was, I had no idea how he hit him through that, but hey-ho, Silver, I guess it works out. But yeah, TSM looking good on these gun rounds. The thing is that they push up so well, and then they gain control. They'll probably exchange a couple of kills. But by that point, on the T side, you're already down maybe 1 or 2 players, so that final play towards the site just seems to give it over to TSM. You've got Xyp9x still, hanging around there. You've got Karrigan, even though it was so low, just being a presence, and that's enough sometimes. But still, 2-3 right now. NiP are still leading this one out, but that money's going to run out very soon. They need this win.
They need this win very much so. You can see Get Right, just the Tech 9 and the full utility. He's open to try and formulate a push towards the site without those early casualties that you already mentioned. As they're trying something very different here. You can see they're just splitting 2 for 2 on either site. Get Right going real aggressive, forcing Device back, and Exist and Freiburg on the other side of the map doing exactly the same thing. Let's do pre-lies in wait. They have actually pushed through connector. They are actually still setting their sights on A, obviously feeling that B is just not going to work for them as of yet. The only time we saw NiP on B was in that pistol round. The full 5-man squad. You said this before, that those early picks were really favouring the CTs. None of them have come in just yet, and this could be the first successful round if NiP play this right.
Look how many players are already on A for TSM. They have so much presence here. Device getting a little bit too far forward, maybe a bit too confident then. Pushing and going to have to be reminded that he's got to fall back. But we've got Dupree this time on the side. Zipnix is still actually around as well. Dupree finds Forest. This is a worrying time. They're not getting into these sites too easily, and TSM have so much control here, so much presence, and finally they're breaking in though. Alu takes down Device, weakening this site eventually, but as said, still Zipnix, still Dupree, and still so much work to do for the T side.
Yeah, the bomb is loose now. Zipnix levels it out. Freiburg down, and Exist, he's worse for wear as well. This could go real south for them fast. It is. As now all onto Alu, 2 to find. Both of these players remaining for TSM have picked up 2 already. As Alu stalking away. Dupree hasn't moved for the entirety of this round. He doesn't need to when he's picking up 3 frags, and 3 vital frags for his team as he manages to pick that one up. 3-3 the scoreline, and that's just a prime example of TSM letting NiP come to them, and that's like the other side of the coin for TSM CT side.
It's a worrying display. NiP yet to pick up a gun round. It's the kind of bigger factor here, isn't it? It's great that you get the 3 pistol back-to-back and you kind of take control of it that way, but they still need more of an impact than this, and we're seeing that kind of forced up Tech9 buyout, where you just got a lot of armor with it and you just kind of play off the back, and Zipnix is already hopping over, keeping control. You can kind of see mid pretty well as well. And they're switching up positions. Zipnix was completely dedicated towards A. Now he's going to head over, play kind of towards that B site, a little bit more towards connector. But they're so good at just kind of stacking out when they need to. Device then just going to drop down a nade. And this should be a clean round coming in for TSM. Already having 4 players on this side. Actually, tell a lie. Alu has none of that, but Dupree just connecting shot after shot. NiP is struggling to break in at all. And look, as soon as you take down one, there's someone straight back there. Karrigan just not allowing any kills to come back to back for NiP. There's no trade frags here for NiP. They are just going down one by one.
And Dupree is a pleasure to watch at this moment. I mean, he quite literally just positions in the most predictable position for NiP, but there's nothing they can do about it. They can smoke him out, but he seems to be picking him up through flash and smoke. Doesn't really matter, as we are once again going to be seeing weapons in the hands of NiP, and we still haven't seen a successful round. Now weapons are in both teams' hands.
And the thing I want to look at now is, how can NiP use this utility? How can they put this to work? Because look at TSM again. As soon as they're on a gun round, as soon as they know NiP's on a gun round, they get up in their face and they just, zero respect play, you know what I mean? They want to challenge, they want to put them off kilter. They don't allow map control, and it could be Freiburg and Exist in trouble here. Actually, no, tell a lie. Dupree does go down, but leaves it in the control of Karrigan, and he just kicks them back into place. And this is a real problem. If they cannot gain control anywhere on the map, they're going to just struggle throughout this T side. Yeah,
TSM, that positioning was so nice and connected. They wanted to play for the trade. They got it. Karrigan got more than he bargained for, though, with the double. Trey's not complaining as, get right, fluffing his flash. Probably going to be a little bothered by that one.
I'm just glad we watched it,
I'm just glad we caught it, yeah, exactly. Everyone makes mistakes, and that's a prime example. KGB catches the heels of Get Right to pick that one up as well. Zipnix gathering intel with the little jump. That's going to mean that the whereabouts of Forest unknown. And Ali's just going on a bomb retrieval mission at this point, as it looks like Forest is going to try and cut the CT numbers down to size. TSM, though, it feels very, very hard to break in at this point. You can see Device just playing it so very safe, just gathering enough information for the frag, and Alu is going to be the last man standing. He is going to be meeting a similar fate any second now. He does. No respect, just the USP from Device to secure that round. 5-3 then the score, and NiP are once again going to have a pretty shoddy economy.
Yeah, and look at this play.
Look at Karrigan. So smart.
And I love it. He just waited in. And he knew that, hey, Dupree may go down, but I will probably have them the surprise. Karrigan just doing the damage when required. And That's all he had to do, and TSM's bank is just flourishing. They have everything they need. They've got the AWP in play, they've got every single molly they'd want to be able to be utilized, and that's more time that TSM can buy. NiP, though, going to switch it up, heading straight in down towards that B-bomb side. CajunB, he's ready and waiting, and there's a lot of people lined up there. I think Alu actually took damage off the back of that as well. Xyp9x just flashed out for a second, going to just lock down that cross towards side, but CajunB doesn't need help. He can do it all alone, and he almost does. Forest last man standing, going to be swept aside as well. And TSM look far superior here. Putting it this way, if NiP aren't able to pick up at least another pistol round on their CT side, they are absolutely screwed.
I think that's a very non-sugar-coated summary. You're absolutely right. And I think CajunB nearly got a collateral there. I'm pretty sure he clipped the legs of Alu.
I know you're meant to be a codcaster, Alex, but geez, this would have just sent us wild. Look at this. Why would you line up for an opportunity like that? He does. He takes Alu down to 20.
Yeah. Either way, back into another gun round. No AWP, though, for NiP yet, as their economy is continuing to be shattered. And look how aggressive the CTs are being. You see dupreeh alongside Device just pushing so high up. Alu's going to be there to receive them, though, as he does gather I think he only saw one, though. I think he only saw one.
And I love this position with dupreeh. It's something we saw coming out with him and Carrigan. Carrigan was the one tucked into the side, but they'll bait out one player, hoping Alu will commit for him, and then you'll have dupreeh waiting, but Alu just connects the shot perfectly. dupreeh goes down, they get some control of A long, but now what do TSM do? Do they fall back to site? Do they stay out a little longer? They've still got a minute. They can buy so much time with this. 2 mollies still there, loads of smokes. They're still pretty good in this one.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a real good observation you've made about just how aggressive TSM and Fnatic, like 2 teams I've seen be successful on Overpass, play it. They go aggressive, they try and take a pick, there's no harm in it, then fall back to the side. We are going to be seeing a pick exchange though as friberg connects through the wall onto Xyp9x. So, 4v3, this is NiP with an advantage. We'll see for how long. CajunB is going to be doing what CajunB does best. Surely not going to get another one. He shouldn't. He's picked up 2 already. He finds a third.
Oh, could it be a fourth?
Oh, it was a no-scope. It did hit as well. And I need to stop getting so excited. Alu, last man standing, picks up another one though. This has been 2. Not going to happen as Carrigan just shows up. 7-3.
You know what? I don't think you need to stop being excited. CajunB is playing beautifully at the moment. His positioning, understanding how they wanted to push him, he bought just enough time. Not enough to, scope in, but to hit that little no-scope, not going to quite get the frag off the back, though.
That's the worst feeling. Where
it
you're
is.
like, I actually hit him.
I have to make this shot
actually hit him, though. 7-3 the score. And I want us just, let's tail CajunB and just see what he's doing so right. As we are going to be seeing NiP once again desperate. Look at the lack of nades on it. Get right in friberg.
And bearing in mind, NiP haven't been going to be all that much. They haven't been hitting it all that much. Recently, they've put about 2 or 3 rounds into it, excluding the pistol at the start where they certainly toyed with it. CajunB has been finding these kills, going hunting for them. He's not had them on the plate that you could argue maybe Xyp9x has had, or maybe Device, whoever's been playing on that A site where NiP have been focused. So for Cajun to achieve this, it's quite impressive already. But now let's look what maybe NiP can do. TSM haven't pushed out as far. They've not gone for that massive amount of map control towards long yet. dupreeh is edging into it, and this could catch NiP out. If they don't think he's still going to be here, that smoke will allow him to try and funnel those NiP players through, unless they risk walking through that smoke, which friberg might just do.
Just thinking about it, catches dupreeh. That's nice. That's Exist being given the freedom. friberg finds another. This is looking much better for NiP. Are we going to be seeing the first successful gun round? Don't speak too soon. Carrigan's turned up and he's looking for blood. Picked up a double. Finally, Forest is there to respond, but Xyp9x just takes his place. They're like turrets, these boys. The Danish turrets now. Just looking for one more man. It's going to be Alu as he has made his way into the site, and I never write Alu off in a round like this. In a situation like this, his health does tell one side of the story. He's just hungering for CajunB to peak, but TSM just seems so disciplined when they need to be. They
have it sorted. Yes, he can maybe plant towards toilets, but he can go nowhere else. CajunB locks it down, and NiP are being outplayed right now. TSM are just so good on that CT side. Whether they're aggressive, whether they're passive, you just can't get past one without the other being ready and waiting. You saw it then. They opened up the site. Great. All right, let's start trying to get some control. And then you've got Carrigan. He was the guy just in front of Xyp9x. Xyp9x isn't even the front line. He was like the 3rd guy to try and defend that site. That's so much power.
They seem so aggressive at the start, then so disciplined at the mid-game. That's so good to see from TSM. Double AWP now. This time Device has picked up the second. We're seeing what he can do with it. CajunB is compadre in the AWPing role. Is going to be trying to do something, and he does it time and time again. Tech9's going to be flooding the site, though, and the smokes as well as NiP are going to successfully get a plant down. One of the most successful pistol rounds we've seen for them other than the first. as bodies are going to continue to drop, and Forest is going to be not long for this world, I think, as 5 CTs are all honing in on his whereabouts. There he goes. And they are going to be picking that defuse up. The 9th round now on the board for TSM, and you said Ninjas in Pajamas need to step it up, and they need to pick up every single last round if they want to be respectable.
And I haven't seen them even trying to, switch up late round. It's just kind of, they'll take the time to start, which is perfectly fine, and they're doing okay at the beginning. It's just that late game, they seem to go all in, and considering TSM are pretty much stacking these sites by late game, I'm surprised they haven't tried to, fake it out a little more, try and switch it up a bit, and try and, maybe leave the bomb on its own, or maybe just with one other, but I'm not sure. Maybe NiP are just trying things out, trying to find some sort of comfort zone here, because they're certainly not there yet. And maybe this is just taking its toll a little bit. They're looking like they're going back to what they used in their first pistol round. Get right over by B, Alu lurking around, close A push, and the rest just trying to get control of those tunnels. But Karrigan's there, and actually that flash coming out, I think that's from Exist. Caught Freiburg out worse than expected and sends him back packing with a little bit less health. So get right, getting a good bit of work done towards Cajun. That could open up the site towards B. Maybe not.
Maybe not. TSM really just... You cannot underestimate them at this point. As Molly dropped out from Karrigan. That's actually not necessarily just to put much damage out, just to delay the T side as much as he can. You can see they are starting to create a presence on long, and Device shuts them down this time. These boys just seem on point, on form, no matter what weapons in their hands. As now the 3 NiP players that do remain are going to be pretty... I don't want to say in a sticky situation, but there's very little that they can do. They sometimes struggle when they had 5v5 and a push on towards the site. Now 4 members of TSM are stacked on towards that A site, and NiP realize that this is going to be a very rough 30 seconds.
And let's bear in mind, if TSM pick up this win, they're going to go tied on points with Fnatic. That'll be a huge increase in this league for these lads. So let's see if they can lock this one down. Again, it looks like NiP wants to test the likes of Dupree, likes of Zipnix and Karrigan. But look how many there are here for TSM. The bomb's finally gone down, which is great. And this is the first time we're going to have to see TSM work for this plant. But by now, the numbers are certainly in their favor, but there's still Forest. He's still got 6 HP, and he's still fighting. Cajun B goes down. Him and Freiburg have to go against the odds here.
He's going to be so close to doing it. He took a big chunk out of one, but Freiburg, they know where he is. Time is of the essence, though, as they're going to be trying to get the defuse in. You need to peek now. Freiburg's not expecting Dupree so close. Another for TSM, and this is getting crazy. 17 on the board for Zipnix as well at the top of the scoreboard. Sorry, Zipex, as he did tell us, but he's always going to be Zipnix in my books. And I blame Anders for that entirely. Damn you, Anders. Either way.
To be fair, I think it's just by now, you know what I mean? Like, by now, surely he would have said, like, guys, come on, like
we know you're Zipex, but you've been Zipnix for so long. I'm sorry. that's my response.
Ooh, we're finally seeing the double AWP come out as well, Alu and Forest.
Okay.
Really glad to see Forest actually on the AWP. He started to really feature this in cash when they started doing the double AWPs on the T side, and you'll see why. He's generally pretty on point, but actually missing that one, and Cajun B gets away.
And Cajun B is going to be really lucky with that one. I mean, that's not something that's going to happen every time. Shouldn't happen any time, let's be honest. As now they are presenting themselves. This is the first time we've seen NiP pay too much attention to this B site with weapons, especially with double AWP. And let's see how this one shapes up. He's holding the perfect angle, just catches the shoulder of one. Not going to be able to take him down, though. As NiP, the health bars have been whittled away, and these flashes are brilliant. Look at this, Karrigan's going to peek, and he knows exactly what he needs to do. Catches one, backs away, and NiP, they're operating at a loss here.
There's nothing they can do, surely. Freiburg exists, Forest still so low. Karrigan gets flashed up. Good push towards the side. They've got some control. But there's still Device, there's still Dupree, and Cajun B.
God.
Finally, one of those massive threats goes down. It's into a 2v2. 40 seconds remain. Bomb isn't put down. Forest has it. He's just trying to find out where these guys are. But do they expect Device? He's been waiting. He's been lurking. And he can make the difference. And it looks like he's going to do it. Takes down Freiburg. Now Forest 1v2. He knows he's in trouble. He knows where Device is. But he's got to deal with Dupree. These two playing so well. 25 seconds now. Forest trying to draw out one. Trying to get him back in this. Fakes it. Switches up. He knows he's going to be pushed. But doesn't expect Device to be lurking below still. And this is just a real credit to how good TSM are.
This is a pleasure to watch. This is really a great demonstration of what TSM, or sorry, what you can do on CT side Inferno. Inferno, really, Alex? I'm just changing the map here.
Are you okay?
A CT side Inferno. Yeah, really good example.
TSM probably are really good on their CT side Inferno.
Let's try CT Overpass. Let's just try that one.
Nice.
So we'll jump on in to the final round of the half. And we'll see if Ninjas in Pajamas can just please secure one weapon round. They have AKs in their hands, not too many nades to be spoken for. And we'll see what they can do with the given utility. Freiburg has managed to gather some control alongside Exister. They've got connector early. And Forest is considering it. They're literally kissing through the smoke. Does spot the feet. Oh my god, Carrigan just picking up 2. Device snatching Alu's life away from him, and now just 2 for the NiP. Freiburg and Get Right. And this was their last chance of a round on T. And TSM are looking fantastic. 4 of the 5 times these guys met recently. In most recent results, we saw TSM pick up the victory, and we're starting to see why.
TSM are playing just perfectly right now. Geralt is the last man standing, and he will be put to bed by Cajun-B. So we are now switching over sides, and I think this is just a real credit to how good TSM have become. They are such impact players. Every single member of their team then was just so crisp. 12-3, NiP did not win one single gun round. After the initial 3 they picked up off the back of the pistol, nothing beyond that. That's just absolute domination from TSM. And really, now TSM are on this sort of verge. NiP needs this pistol round. If they don't get it, they're screwed. And Carrigan, even in this spot, and I love that sort of play, because when you're in that position, you get to see those feet just poking out under that smoke just that second before. But still, there's nothing wrong with NiP, it seems. They don't seem to be playing awfully themselves. It's just TSM are so much better on that CT side. It's kind of difficult to see NiP, like a way NiP could have felt like got into that site. Like everything they tried made sense on paper. Everything they tried could have been successful. The picks weren't in their favor, that has to be said. Cajun-B was on fire on that B site. Like, I mean, excuse me, sorry, yeah, on the B site, because he was constantly present. Like, no matter what time you choose to pick, god damn, he just seems to have an idea of where NiP are all the time. And that's just one individual. Device was picking up on long. And Zipnix, every time they went towards A, Zipnix wasn't just playing A, he'd been supporting on B, watching that mid push. He was the guy like hopping up and down the little boost spot just to see if anyone was pushing up towards B. And then he'd instantly rotate, join the likes of Carrigan. Carrigan would kind of move up, play close to the push towards site. And it's like, if you killed one member of TSM, there'd be 2 others just waiting to see if you take any sort of ground off the back. So really, NiP just didn't quite have the impact to get towards the late part of the site. So they barely got bomb plants in. They got a couple here and there, but none deep in towards the site, because there's always players still alive. There's always members still up for TSM. But this map, you could argue, does slightly favor a CT-sided team, I guess. You know, so maybe we just need to see what NiP can bring. Yeah,
it favors a CT side. It doesn't 12-3 favor a CT side.
That's the point. Said, I'm trying to find silver lining, Alex. Come on. But no, it is down to this now. It's how much has NiP got for their CT side? Because TSM historically, I guess, you know, under a different reign, under a different in-game leader, were always good on that CT side, but always poor on T. With the new in-game leaders coming, with the new players kind of being adjusted, you know, when Carrigan stepped in, they've just kind of become this well-rounded, beautiful machine that can operate so well on both sides. So I think NiP are in a little bit of trouble here. Yeah,
and the point I want to reiterate, I actually made it in game, I just want to kind of really push that, is that TSM on their CT side was so, like, it's basically exactly the same, the carbon copy of Fnatic on the CT side, where Olof and his cronies, I think it's Crims actually, just pushes up aggressively.
I've never heard Crims being referred to as a crony. The best support player arguable in the world.
And his crony.
Wow. Nice one, Alex.
Either way, Olof and Crims usually just go hyper-aggressive. Chances are they'll get a pick up towards Connector or towards Fountain, then just disappear off back into the sites, crawl back into their holes, and then they get super, like, really tight cross angles? Crossfires is the word I'm looking for. And that's when the frags come home. I'm going to start talking a lot slower, so I just don't dig myself into holes with cross angles and DE Inferno. I was talking about Inferno at one point. Either way, we're into our second half.
It's been a long weekend, guys.
12-3
you know what I mean?
The scoreline. Can NiP secure this round? And it could not be any more crucial.
I think you've summed it up perfectly. This has a lot of value and a lot of weight to it. And looking at TSM's purchases, 2 players with a great amount of utility, Cajun-B and Carrigan, with all the smokes and flashes. The other 3, Zipnix, Dupree, and Device, going to be the impact players. And while Forest, probably the one player you don't want up against, who's going to spot them out first. And let's prove as to why. Come on, Forest, just connect one more shot. Only getting down Cajun-B, but getting a great deal of information. But then again, TSM have now shown, okay, we're looking towards A, but will they commit off the back here? Will they actually push the issue? Xyp9x just being cautious of the back. GetRight already waiting here. The bomb is towards the toilets. They are starting to push up that long A approach. But 3 players will receive them. Perfect flash comes in. GetRight pushes up. And this is going to have to be proving time. GetRight going down is not a good start.
Oh, and that's even better for Team Solo Mid. Device shows up with 1. And now Alu and Exist going to be hungering for another, and it's going to be actually Karrigan who shuts that dream down. Exist the last man standing, and NiP have really run out of chances really in this game.
And that will just seal the deal. Device picking up 4 in a hugely important round towards NiP. But I think the thing there is, even though Device did do brilliantly, there was a lot of TSM members still alive. And I want to point out the scoreboard right now. Something that people wouldn't have been expecting to see maybe prior to now is GetRight sitting so down low. 2-16. This performance is not really good enough, even for an in-game leader. And I hate that we're going to have to refer to it as that, because that's the biggest change to him as an individual right now. It's not good. He needs to be above and beyond this, and maybe he's just not quite in form right now, maybe not so comfortable just yet.
Oh. The point we made before was that, you know, the only 2 kind of chances that he's had to kind of sit in the in-game leader role was against Mousesports and Penta. Now against TSM, his leading's being tested, and at the moment, it isn't going to plan. You have to understand that, you know, this is something that takes time, and I'm sure NiP do. They're always a team that really have a great understanding of each other as individuals, and that's really aggressive from NiP. We do see Xyp9x go down, and GetRight was looking to try and pick something off to the back of that. Not going to happen just yet. KGB lies in wait and picks up GetRight with the 5-7. And now dupreeh just looking to rattle out some damage. NiP, they are really just hungering for something from TSM as the bomb goes in.
Certainly does. KGB, dupreeh and Device looking to hold on. They've got the weapons. And they do have the positions. And well, at the moment, they're getting the kills. Forest the only one to make a dent into this. And he needs to go for it. There's no 2 ways about it. He's got to get in there. Does the jump across. All that surfing's paying off perfectly. But sadly, the gun work going to be denied by dupreeh. Picking it up with the big Mac Daddy. And actually, is he sticking with the Mac 10? Yeah, he is. Why not?
Yeah.
He got some dollar bills off the back of it. 4.3k coming in. And the rest can just kind of arm themselves with AKs. But TSM just playing so well. You know, they don't know challenge at the moment. I think NiP need that time in between. And I think we'll have to wait and see what they can bring later down the line, because at the moment, they're not quite there.
Most definitely, or let's say not on Overpass. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know...
They probably even haven't had a chance to do this together as a team.
I wouldn't be surprised if GetRight's probably got a whole lot of kind of things in his mind for other maps. This one, probably not going to jump to the forefront of his brain. We'll see, though. This Device looking for something along, and there's going to be a lot there. It's going to be like whack-a-mole if he just... Oh, the head pops up and Exist does get bopped. Looking for another one, though, as he's going to look towards the rocks. And, oh, Alu does respond with the P250. It's actually the P2K, excuse me. As now this 4v4 is about to get very, very scary for the CTs as they begin their swarm on towards the B site. And it's going to be a wide-open site. They're going to be shaking their heads like, wait, what? Where are they? Where are they?
Oh, and dupreeh's in such a good spot.
Oh, even closes the door, like, nope.
They can boost and peek through the window at least, but...
Surely you'll see him, yep. Oh.
You can molly through doors as well. That's not going to make things any easier. Well, this has gone...
South?
South, I think, is a good word here.
Yeah.
NiP, I just don't think are ready for this map. I think you summed it up well, that if you're going to come into a new formation, let's say, or a new formula of a team, maybe this isn't one of their priorities. Maybe this hasn't quite been polished yet, but it's a long way off from being perfect right now, and TSM look really solid. Yeah,
TSM just seem to be really, like, everything, both on their CT and now T side, seems to be very restrained, very much kind of playing as they should. They're not going crazy. They're not kind of enjoying the win. They're playing as TSM should play, and it's really evident in that result. 15-3 the score as we dive into potentially the final round. NiP do have weapons in their hands, but that hasn't stopped TSM in the past.
As I said, this will put TSM up in the top 3. This is a very big place for them. This win will mean a lot. This is going to be a massive move up. And well, with such a brilliant scoreline to boot, the round difference is very much going to be in their favor. So now looking at this one, TSM just going to go for the cleanup. Forest and Alu going to push up a touch by A. And Forest just looking over the smoke, seeing if he can spot anyone out. But Device already passed Karrigan just around the corner. Forest going to lay in towards Karrigan. Perfectly done, but not good enough. Overextending beyond and has no backup. Alu had already backed away. And the 1-for-1 exchange doesn't really gain them much.
Yet, we'll see. Luca went on that 1v1, not going to happen. Dupree was there in Device as well. NiP are just falling apart at the seams as Exist and Freiburg are the two remaining members, desperately hungering to keep this game alive. TSM 2 frags away from a 16-3 victory. HB finds one, all now onto Freiburg. He's down courtesy of Device, and TSM have done it, and done it in style. 16-3 the score.
Ouch.
The first 3 rounds. Like, that's just, like, I wish I could open the scoreboard and, like, see that line. But no. 3 rounds. First 3 rounds, we were like, okay, NiP, respectable, that's a surprise. And then TSM just turned it on. Yeah,
TSM looked really good. NiP looked behind the curve, I think is the only way to put it. Yeah. They don't look prepared for that map just yet. You can clearly see they have an idea of what they want to do, but just all the pieces coming together were not in place. So I think it's a work in progress, or at least they're going to have to look at it like that, because that sort of scoreline is not something NiP should be achieving. Even in the games they've lost recently, it hasn't been that one-sided.
No, it's true. And NiP's losses, when they are losses, tend to be close ones. Like you've said it there already, that result like 16-3 makes you kind of like take an inhale. Like, wow, okay, so Overpass needs some work. Of course, you know, this is very much early days for that in-game leader role, and we're going to keep knocking like on that dead horse as much as we can, because, you know, when NiP start to make changes like this, a team like NiP, there must be something wrong. There must be something that they really feel they need to fix. You wouldn't be making changes without that. Yeah, and even Freiburg just saying, just a bad game from us. Yeah. Clearly frustrated, clearly annoyed at it, something to go back and work at. You know what I mean? These guys, they are methodical like this. They are dedicated. They will go back and they will watch that over, and they will come out stronger. So that's what I will look at in the future for NiP. They have to kind of stick with these changes. You have to kind of go through that bad to get to the good. So hopefully we see them down the line. But for TSM, that was something they needed to really bolster their numbers into this league. So that will place them within the top 3, assuming Fnatic don't move anywhere else and assuming no one else gets any points. That can still change. There's still 3 more games to be played out today. And coming up next will be Mousesports up against Hellraisers. Now, I'm extraordinarily excited for that one. I think you are as well. We've got Nico coming into the lineup, if I'm not mistaken. We will check that out just to make sure. But that is a massive addition coming through for just this game. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how Mousesports fare against Hellraisers as well. That's going to be coming up after the break, I believe. Yeah, so guys, do get yourselves maybe a cup of tea, maybe even a pint of beer, who knows, treat yourself. But we're going to be taking a very short break to allow the teams a little bit of time to get themselves ready. So as soon as the teams are ready, we'll jump back in. So guys, don't go too far away.